What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Scratch Agency Podcast, hosted by Scratch Agents for Scratch Agents. This episode is brought to you by Virtual Intelligence, your premier partner for client-facing and back-office virtual employees. My name is Turnbull, founder of T5 Insurance Services, Clinton, New York, and I'm joined by my co-host today, the one and only, you already know, hold your applause, Mr. Shawn Fitzgerald, founder of Sound Harbor Insurance in Long Island, New York. Ladies and gentlemen, we are 126 episodes in on this journey, and this is the one that you are not going to want to miss, because we are finally giving all the listeners what they want. And now on the Zoom screen here, if you look on YouTube, you can see Shawn's face starting to get a little bit nervous because he has no idea where I'm going with this. But we're finally 126 episodes in, going to find out the day in the life of Shawn Fitzgerald. This is what the people have been waiting for, Shawn. We're finally giving it to him.
Yeah, we got a lot to go over, because, the day in the life of a Scratch agent can be very different for every type of agent. And I think this is a good conversation to have, because my day in the life is probably going to look a lot different than your day in the life, because you lead growing organically with networking and referrals, and I lead working like purchase leads or ads or, cold calls. So it's just going to be like an interest. I was excited for this one because I want to see how different they are. There might be some similarities. But it was funny. Like, I noticed, I'm just going to call you out. Like, I noticed you were out of the office the last couple of days. Like, I messaged you for like help with something, and you're like, I get the out of office reply, and I'm like, in my head, I know, I'm like, there's no way this guy's on vacation this much. He must be up to something. And I messaged you, and you were at a golf outing, networking. You were doing some boat thing, networking. And I was like, man, he's just out there. He's out there doing his thing. And listen, I know it's probably stressful to be out of the office like that, but it pays dividends, right? And it's just a totally different way of prospecting than I do. But that's why I was pumped for this conversation. So you want me to go first as far as what the day in the life looks like?
Of course we do. People are banging down the walls. Cool. They've been wondering what is the day in the life of Shawn? Please.
Well, listen, I'll start from the beginning. And again, it's I love Brett's saying of like Brett Young. I love the saying of like, it depends of the season you're in, right? So right now I have two little kids. They are on more of a routine sleeping. So they get up at 7, go to sleep at 7, roughly, depending on the day. But for the most part, that's what it looks like. So for me, it's super important I get up early in the morning. So I'm usually up latest 4:30. That's when I'm taking my time to do personal development stuff, like read, maybe write down some stuff for meetings I got on to be prepared later in the day. I'm getting my gym in. And by the time I get back from the gym, it's game on. I'm getting the kids ready for school or for the day, cooking them breakfast, hanging out with them for a little bit, getting ready for work. And then I think this is the most important part of the schedule, and something I feel like I finally have gotten right pretty recently, is making time and time blocking for the most important task first thing in the morning. And it works for me because I feel like at the beginning part of my day, that is when I have the absolute most energy. I have the clearest mind, and I just feel like I could take over the world. So when I get in at, 7:30, 8:30, I want to make sure I'm knocking out the most important task for my agency. And for me at this point, it's still bringing revenue in the door. At the end of the day, I'm under $1 million in revenue. So once I get over that point, I'll reassess. But right now, I got to get business in the door. So, and my producer does the same thing from I would say from basically 8:30, and this is Monday through Friday, from 8:30 to almost 1 o'clock is all prospecting time. It's literally all we do is we work on purchase leads that we get that are turned on between that time. So they hit our inbox. We got to call them right away. We got to email them. We got to get them, make sure everything's good in the CRM. We work, like if leads don't come in for whatever reason, they're a little delayed or whatever for the day, we'll call leads from the previous day. We'll follow up on any, commercial accounts we're working on. It's anything related to prospecting. So that's the first part of the day. And so, listen, there's maybe 2 days a week where prospecting gets cut off at like 12 because we have team meetings at like 12:30 some days. So it depends on the day, but 90% of the time it's first thing in the morning till like 12, 1 o'clock is all nothing but prospecting. And then for me, the way I've set it up is we have team huddles and we have one weekly team meeting every Monday, and we have quick like 15-minute team huddles every other day for the week. And those are usually scheduled anywhere between like 12 and 1:30, depending on the day. And that's basically like my middle of the day block. Like I'll eat lunch and have that call with the team. We do all our one-to-ones usually on Thursday. And that takes place at the team huddle. We won't do a team huddle that day. I'll just knock out the ones-to-ones with Ron, Marsha, Ryan, and then bang through that list, and then annoy you if I have to about like commissions or something like that. And then outside of that, from like 2 to 4, I would say 2 to 4 is like catching up on, VIP client emails, following up with maybe a client who texted me, just checking my calendar to see if there's anything. Like I know you use Hawksoft task list. I plug everything into Google Tasks. So I'll just run through that, see if there's anything in there. And usually that'll carry on, I would say 90% of the time. Again, like that's my 2 to 4. Sometimes I'll shoot content like once every couple of weeks. I'll try to fit social media in that block. And then from 4 to 6-ish, following up on leads. Maybe, from prospecting earlier in the day, maybe people reached out, they want to move forward with the policy. That's when I'll try to like bind, get the signed apps out, make sure the signed apps are in the, the CRM and all that stuff. But dude, that's basically the day. I try, it's funny. I had a carrier rep come in today, and I got this from Crowley. It's really tough for me to do. I'm trying to do it correctly, but like once a month, just block out a big part of the day to have the carrier reps come in. It hasn't worked well for me because I just noticed like the carrier reps it's just impossible to get them to all come the same day. But something you got to have the carrier rep meetings. I feel like there's no way around it. You can tell them no, but you got to keep that relationship strong. And for instance, like I had my rep come in today, and she's like, "Hey, I actually know a young guy who's getting his insurance license now. He has previous health insurance experience, but he's getting his PNC license. Like, you two should connect." And like that, I would have never gotten to that point if I didn't take a carrier appointment. So I feel like
Can we talk about this for a second?
Yeah.
This is my biggest pet peeve is getting a calendar invite from carrier rep for the next day at 9 a.m. at 3 p.m. the following day.
Don't get me started. Don't get me started.
I'm probably going to forget, but I'm going to try not to forget. Throw this out in the community to start this discussion. So if you're listening to this and we haven't had this, please throw it in the community if you forget. But I'd love to know, like Crowley has got it down to a science with his one day, and I think he just has those carrier reps know that. They know that this is his time. He has a calendar invite. If there's anybody that has a different process, I'd love to hear from you, and please put it in the community so we can all learn from it. But that just grinds my gears. And I know they have to hit their reps. They got to meet so many times with the agents, and I completely understand the importance of it with the relationship. But it's just crazy to me how many times it's just like, "Hey, I'm going to meet tomorrow at this day. Here's a calendar invite. See you then." And it's like, hang on a second.
Yeah, it can't just be a pop-in. It can't just be a pop. And listen, the same goes for business referral partners. Like, dude, some of them hit me up. "Hey, I'm in Bayshore. I'll be there in 10 minutes if that's cool." I'm like, "No, it's not cool." Right. My calendar's booked out. But I think with calendar tools nowadays, like I was thinking too, like, hey, in my calendar tool, like I can make a carrier rep one that's only open Tuesday and Wednesday once a month, something like that. So I'm sure there's creative ways to do it, but yeah, T5, you're on the money. Like if you figured it out or got it down to a good science, let us know in the community, because I could sure as hell use the help.
Shawn, I think it'd be interesting to share, just from our relationship. I know you have that daily schedule down to a science, but it didn't happen overnight. And I think one of the biggest, I don't want to make it a time blocking conversation because we've been there multiple times, but I'm curious of how you found the secret sauce of what works for you and your agency model, because I think that's the hardest part. Is like, hey, what works, and like what times of the week are going to be best for this and that. Like, what have you found that's worked in that regard?
Yeah. So there's a couple of different things. I'll say the first part is, if your calendar doesn't reflect your goals, your agency isn't growing. You're just basically surviving. So like,
that's a good one.
I started looking at my week and asking myself, like, does this reflect what I actually say I want? You know, does my calendar reflect what I want the agency to become? And if not, I change it, because no one's coming to fix it for you, you know? And if you're reactive all day to emails, to carrier rep saying, hey, he's in the area, to anything, I mean, you're going to wind up not being happy and not being in the place you want to be. So I feel like you can't, at the end of the day, you can't scale chaos. Right. And if you don't stick to, or listen, I'm not going to sit here and say I have it perfect and that I stick to my calendar 100% every day. Nobody does. Nobody's perfect. But you have to know what to expect going into the next day. And I feel like that's been the biggest thing for me. I got a lot of that information from doing coaching with Dan Martell. To me, when he painted that picture to me of your calendar's got to reflect what your goals are,
I love that.
That's when it really hit me, because I started looking at my calendar and I was like, well, crap, my goal is this. I don't have that much prospecting time blocked off on my calendar. How am I going to get new revenue? Ryan's out there doing his thing, but if I really want to grow this the way I want to, I got to also be contributing as close to Ryan as I can till we get to a certain point, so I can bring on more people and scale the agency the way I want to. So that was the biggest thing for me. But what about you, man? What's your day look like?
Shit show.
Hey, we all have those days. I don't care who you are.
Days, if they're months, that's the problem. I guess the way I can share, and I think this is kind of cool, because we allude to this every time we talk on this podcast. We don't have the answers. We're just kind of sharing our experiences, and hopefully you can take something from one of the things we say and build on and make it your own. But I guess I would kind of share what my perfect day would be, right? And how that kind of works, because like you talked about in the beginning, our days couldn't be any different because of the model of our agency and how we operate, and that, like, currently I sit on 4 different boards. Like, I'm in the Rotary Club that meets every other week. The board meetings are lunch meetings, the first Tuesday of the month, the second Thursday of the month, or whatever. So there's no like 2 days that look the same because of those things, because sometimes those things change. Next board meeting is this date and this month, and that's just when it is. And those commitments and that volunteerism, if you will, through those board meetings is, part of my community, the impact I'm trying to make in the relationships I want to build. But those are just, when they come up, and those are the days. So it's not like I can, Tuesday is this, Thursday is this. However, I will say one thing that I've been trying to really focus on is keeping Mondays and Fridays as open as possible for office days, and backfilling Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays is just the chaos days. And
I like that.
That's worked pretty well for me, because most of those board meetings and commitments don't happen on Monday and Fridays, because a lot of people take long weekends.
Great idea.
But like, we have our BNI meeting on Tuesday mornings. That's like 25 minutes away from my office. So I focus on, once that gets done at 9 a.m. and I try to do from 9 to 12 coffees or lunch on Tuesdays that I'm out of the office, because I'm already out of the office. And if I can prepare to be in the office on Mondays and prepare for that, that's what I try to do. So for the weekly schedule, that's what I've really had success around that Monday and Friday, right? Like, open up the week, get everything prepared, close it out, take some time to do it, and the hectic days are in the middle. Again, as far as the daily schedule, with a 3-month-old at home, a lot of that has changed. Shawn told me it would change. I never believed him, but here we are. So, and ideally, I do a 5 a.m. gym class. Ideally, I get my ass up and go to the gym. Because if I don't do it with a lot of the networking stuff that are after hours and all that, if I don't do it in the morning, I'm not going to do it. And so on a perfect day, I go to the gym at 5, get home by 6, And then from that standpoint, I want to get in front of the computer and try to organize the day for the team, because we still have a young team. We still have a new team with our customer service rep and our virtual assistant. And so, like you said, my first place is going to Hawksoft, because all our tasks and everything for the agency flow through there. And, reassigning those out or seeing what's coming out today and what we need to work on. And then I got this from you to do the daily huddle, and that's been really good. So do we do it every day? No. But do we do it probably 4 out of 5 days? Yes. And we try to have the longer one on Wednesdays where it's more intentional, but more of just, with Emmanuel, who's on our team in Colombia, it doesn't feel like he's in Colombia because we're on the call every single day,
That's right.
and that's just important for camaraderie of the whole team and the relationship and the trust building as a team, but more of like, hey, good morning, how are you today? One thing every Monday morning is like, what was favorite part of your weekend? It's not just jump right into it. And so that's helped a lot. So during that morning huddle, we just try to organize the day. What are we working on? What's priorities? What does it look
Helps
like?
keep everyone in check, like in sync. Yeah. I'm sorry, not
and
in
that
check,
and that call can be 3 minutes. It can be 15, depending what's happening. And then from there, like I said, it's really hard to organize the day, but I try to either call any inbound stuff that's coming the night before, or referral partners that sent over the night before, get those things, because we've got it kind of dialed down good where Emmanuel does all the quoting. So either Jasmine or I take in that discovery information and send it to him for quoting. And then the afternoon is when I try to send those out and finalize those in the afternoon. So that's kind of been the breakup. But the way that my model is set up, I could have a coffee meeting at 3 o'clock. I could have a coffee meeting at 10 o'clock, right? It depends on how to block those. So truthfully, this is putting me in the hot seat a little bit, because I'm actively trying to work on this of, can I block Thursday mornings from 8 to 11 for coffee, right? I have those links already set up, but they're kind of scattered, so, you want to get together for coffee, or, hey, let's get together, connect. Here's my calendar to do that. And so I'm working on that. Just truthfully, the baby and the new schedules and all that, it hasn't derailed itself a little bit, but that's been what's worked well. I think the biggest takeaway for me has been that Monday and Friday of trying not to book things in there and trying to just focus on making the busy days, those 3 days during the week, to catch up on Friday and get ready for Monday.
Love that. Yeah, I think that's a I would say I lean a lot towards that as well. Like Monday and Friday, I will not have in-person meetings. Nobody's coming to the office. And that's tailored to my life, like, and I intentionally do that because Friday we don't always have babysitting or daycare. So, my wife and I might be working from home that day. So I should have touched on that. I like that aspect of, hey, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, do your networking, your in-person stuff, have people come to the office, go get that coffee. And maybe Monday and Friday, you're doing a little bit more, on the phones in the office type stuff. So I think that's a great point you touch on.
And I want to touch on something you talked about this week, being out of the office. I am going on a bachelor party tomorrow, so that's a different form of networking. But
it's all networking, right?
Monday and Tuesday. So Monday I had a golf tournament for a board that I serve on. I'm on the board. I committed to being a part of it, so I have to be there. That was a golf tournament on Monday. And then Tuesday was we volunteer and take blind kids tubing at a local blind association that I'm on the board for. Like, so that's another example. Like, those are just commitments of those things come up, and that's part of my networking in a way, right? Of being involved with those organizations and meeting new people through that. And so I just wanted to touch on that because I think it's funny that you brought it up.
I don't know about you, but for all you listening, I think Steven has this whole thing figured out. He's network, tubing,
figured out.
Bachelor party, golfing. Man, I got to switch up.
That's the week. It's right. That's the week in the life right there. Just in office on Wednesdays, bachelor party Thursday, Friday, golfing and tubing.
Nah, I'm just messing with you. Listen, at the end of the day, that stuff, whatever you could say, it is fun to get out there, but talking to people all day can take an emotional toll on you. Like when I get home from a long day of like in-person meetings, like, I'm on the board of Big I, like if I have a Big I meeting and I get home at night, like I'm pretty beat, so kudos for you to being able to do that multiple times a week. That's not easy,
Yeah. Yeah, well, it's all part of it. It's all part of the that aspect of it. So
No, for sure. But that's all I got, man.
good stuff. That was good. Yeah, I think again, no one's an expert here. Take a little piece of whatever, and that's the beauty about the connections and collaborations with this. Take a piece of what works for other people and try to make it your own. And man, we're all learning this thing as we go.
Yeah, at the end of the day, just if there's one takeaway from it is, like you said, that no one's perfect with it. Like my full disclosure, my schedule got thrown in the trash today. Like I had a family thing I had to take care of right in the middle of the day that cut into my prospecting time.
We got this
And
podcast
now,
we got to do.
Yeah, the podcast that we have to do. And like now I just know, like mentally, I'm in for a long night. Like I'm probably not going to go to sleep at my normal time. I'm probably going to crack open the laptop after the kids go to bed, and I know that's what I got to do if I want to hit my goals.
I thought you were going to say you're cracking open something else, Bush Light or something like that.
It's not a terrible idea either.
Only a couple people will get that joke. Hey, Shawn, if I'm doing my math correctly, here, this episode will be coming out the week of our Scratch Agency Mastermind.
I am excited for that. I'm telling you, I'm coming in hot for that presentation. I think it's going to be one of the most like tactical things I can come up with that can help you make money for your agency. So I'm pumped about it.
Oh boy, Fitz is coming in hot. Hide your wives, everybody. Hide your wives. He's coming in hot to DC. Everybody. For those 20 of us that got in to the mastermind, we look forward to seeing you that week. If you're listening to this, thank you for your continued support. That's another episode of the Scratch Agency podcast. Do us a favor, like the show, share the show, and subscribe. But most importantly, remember to dig down deep, believe in yourself, and own your own future. It's up to you to own your own future, baby. Get it done. We'll see you next week. Take care.